For months after that, I saw absolutely no way out. North Korean television personalities never travel abroad. We're too valuable, too risky to let loose. The regime keeps its propaganda tools on the shortest possible leash. Then, out of nowhere, everything shifted. In June, the regime announced they were sending a special overseas press delegation to New York for some UN cultural exchange program. North Korea wanted to showcase its artistic achievements to the international community. They needed their best, most photogenic faces. My name was on the list. For about 5 seconds, I felt pure hope flooding through me. Then came the terror, because they also announced the security protocols. Each delegate would have 2 state security agents assigned to them personally. And all family members would remain in Pyongyang as assurance of loyalty. Any defection attempts would result in immediate and severe retaliation against whoever got left behind. Daniel couldn't come. That was the entire point of the system. After the meeting, Senior Agent Kim, this guy who'd been shadowing me for years, pulled me aside. He had this cold, reptilian smile. "I know exactly what you're thinking, Comrade Maya. Don't even consider it. Your brother's continued well-being depends entirely on your loyalty. Remember that every single moment you're abroad." I smiled back sweetly. "Of course, comrade. I live to serve the fatherland." But my mind was already racing. There had to be some way. There had to be. 2 weeks before departure, I got a message slipped to me by an old classmate from the academy, someone I trusted, someone who'd shown subtle signs of doubting the regime over the years. The message was brief: "Be ready. New York. Help is possible." I had no idea who was offering help or how they'd gotten word to me. But it was a lifeline. I had to grab it. The problem was still Daniel. They'd never let him travel with the press delegation. And if I defected without him, they'd punish him immediately and brutally. Then fate intervened in the strangest possible way. Vice Minister Choi, the same bastard who'd been pressuring and threatening me, invited me to another one of his private dinners. This time he got drunk, started boasting about his influence and connections. At one point, he mentioned that the regime was also selecting a youth delegation for the same UN event, handpicked students to showcase North Korean educational excellence. "Your brother's school is being considered for representatives," he slurred. Smart boy. Excellent revolutionary spirit. An idea sparked in my head. A desperate, dangerous idea. I smiled sweetly and poured him another drink. "Vice Minister, you're so insightful. If Daniel were selected, it would reflect incredibly well on your personal mentorship of our family. People would see how your guidance has shaped both of us to better serve the party." Appealing to his massive ego and his constant need for credit worked perfectly. Within 3 days, Daniel's name appeared on the official youth delegation roster. We'd both be in New York together. For the first time in months, I let myself feel something like hope. Landing at JFK Airport felt like stepping into a completely different universe. The brightness, the space, the complete absence of propaganda posters plastered every 10 feet. Our security handlers kept us in tight formation, but I could still catch glimpses through the bus windows. People of every color and background just walking around freely. No mandatory uniforms, no organized marching formations, nobody checking papers or monitoring behavior. Restaurants, shops, advertisements. Everywhere capitalism's supposedly corrupt chaos. But it didn't look like suffering or moral decay. It looked like life. Real life. They housed us in a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Daniel's youth delegation was on a different floor under separate security. I barely saw him the first 2 days. It was agony. On day 3, during a cultural performance we were giving at the UN building, something extraordinary happened. I noticed this man in the audience, Korean features, American press credentials hanging around his neck, watching me with this intense, focused expression. Not admiration or curiosity, recognition, and something else. Concern, maybe even anger on my behalf. After the performance ended, while our handlers were distracted talking to diplomats, this journalist approached a colleague standing near me and spoke in Korean, loud enough for me to clearly overhear. "She's been reading regime propaganda for 7 years straight. Does she even know what she's really saying? Does she have any idea what's actually happening in those camps?" It was completely deliberate. He wanted me to hear it. That evening, I found a note that had been slipped under my hotel room door. Written in English, which I'd secretly studied whenever possible. Your brother is being threatened by security agents. I personally witnessed it yesterday at the youth delegation event. I'm a journalist. I have contacts. I can help you both. But you must act fast. Tomorrow at the NGO reception, 3 p.m. I'll be wearing a blue tie. If you want help, spill water near me, make it look accidental. We'll have exactly one chance. That's it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. This was it. The lifeline I'd been desperately praying for. But it could also be a trap. A loyalty test set up by state security. If I responded and it turned out to be fake, Daniel and I would both be dragged back to Pyongyang and publicly executed. I had to decide right then: trust a complete stranger with our lives, or go back to North Korea and live in chains forever. I burned the note in the bathroom sink and flushed the ashes down the toilet. The next day, I wore my red dress, the one that meant I was ready to risk everything. The NGO cultural reception was held in a crowded hotel ballroom in Manhattan. Diplomats, journalists, activists, all mingling together. Our North Korean delegation stood clustered in one corner, with 6 security agents watching our every breath and movement. Daniel's group was there, 215 students in identical uniforms, mechanically reciting practiced lines about the superiority of our socialist education system. I managed to catch his eye once. He looked exhausted, scared. Then I saw him, the journalist, blue tie, exactly like he'd said, standing casually near the refreshment table, pretending to check messages on his phone. This was the moment, now or never. My handler, Agent Kim, was standing maybe 3 feet away, watching everything with those cold, calculating eyes. I needed a distraction, something that would look completely natural and accidental. I grabbed a glass of water and walked toward the Swedish diplomat, who'd been asking technical questions about our broadcast systems. As I approached him, I deliberately caught my heel on the carpet edge and stumbled forward. The water went flying. It splashed all over the journalist's shoes and the bottom of his pants. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I gasped in English, immediately rushing forward with napkins, making a big show of apologizing profusely. He smiled calmly, waving it off. It's completely fine. Accidents happen all the time. As I bent down, dabbing at the water pooling on the floor, he whispered in rapid-fire Korean, barely moving his lips. Tomorrow, South Korean Embassy public event at Rockefeller Center. 2 p.m. Major Hollywood celebrity making surprise appearance. Total chaos guaranteed. Security will be completely overwhelmed. Bring your brother. When I give the signal, you run like hell. North side of the plaza, glass doors with Korean flag. Run and don't look back. You'll have maybe 30 seconds. That's it. Then, louder in English for everyone around to hear. Really, it's okay. No harm done at all. Agent Kim appeared instantly at my elbow. Comrade Maya, we should return to our delegation group now. I apologized one more time, bowed respectfully, and walked away. My heart was pounding so violently I was sure he could hear it. That night, I managed to find Daniel alone for just a few seconds in the hotel corridor. Both of us pretending to use the vending machines. Tomorrow we're going to a public event. I whispered in Korean, feeding coins into the machine without looking at him. Stay as close to me as physically possible. When I suddenly grab your hand and start running, don't ask any questions. Don't hesitate even for a second. Just run as fast as you can. Do you understand me? His eyes went huge. Are we actually? Don't say it out loud. Just trust me completely. Can you do that? He swallowed hard and nodded, grabbed his soda and walked away. I didn't sleep at all that night. Just lay there in the dark, mentally rehearsing every possible scenario. What if the journalist was lying? What if it was an elaborate trap? What if we got caught? But I also thought about what was waiting for us back in Pyongyang. More threats, more control, more nights in Vice Minister Choi's apartment. Daniel eventually being forced into the same crushing system. That had destroyed me. No, we had to try, even if it killed us.